Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul. I'll worship Your holy name. The sun comes up, it's a new day dawning. It's time to sing Your song again. Whatever may pass and whatever lies before me, let me be singing when the evening comes. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul. I'll worship Your holy name. You're rich in love and You're slow to anger. Your name is great and Your heart is kind. For all Your goodness I will keep on singing. 10,000 reasons for my heart to find. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul. I'll worship Your holy name.
Hi friends, welcome back. Today let us talk about what are the challenges in following Jesus. Following Jesus is never as easy as some of us think. Life is difficult, and being a disciple of Jesus means picking up our own crosses, meaning to say picking up our own difficulties of life. Following Jesus is hard. It challenges us, our expectations, it confronts us with the pain and suffering, and it demands all of me, perhaps more than I thought it would. To follow Jesus to the end requires structure, encouragement, and gratitude. We need the church to follow Jesus. Let us try to understand what it means to follow Jesus. That word follow is a confusing, all-purpose term in our language today, with a wide variety of possible uses. You can follow a sports team, or you can follow a celebrity on Twitter, or you can follow an argument in a classroom. But these various types of following are quite distinct from what we mean when we talk about a follower of Jesus, because in those situations to follow means to be a passive spectator or listener, but to follow Jesus means not only to learn and absorb His teachings, but to actively participate in His work in the world today, walking in direct imitation of His life and attitude. Though there are many challenges in following Jesus Christ, let us try to name 5 most important qualities that we need to possess as a follower of Christ. The first quality that we need to possess is the quality of being committed to the person of Jesus. It means that following of Jesus is not a part-time job, but it must be a 24/7/365 following of Jesus. Loyalty and commitment to Jesus means that we desire to become more and more like Him. we are willing to take up our own cross daily and follow Him. It means that we are to put ourselves, mind, body and spirit in His hands to do as He so desires. The commitment to follow Jesus also involves sacrificing self-centeredness. The second quality is being authentic. To be an authentic follower of Christ demands a lot from the one who follows Jesus. First of all, Jesus must be the sole most important person in our life. Secondly, we need to become the living sacrifice. Thirdly, we need to abide by the words of Jesus as it is given in the Bible. Fourthly, we need to be connected with Jesus through our prayer and be on constant watch. Fifthly, we need to have a true fellowship with the believers with whom we live, just like the fellowship Christians had in the early Christian communities. And finally, we need to live the life of witness to Jesus. The third challenging quality that we need to possess is our trustfulness in God. Though it may look very easy and simple, it is really demanding. Trust in God is our grit to trust in Him even when others fool us about God in whom we believe, or our courage to trust in God even when all the things around us go wrong and against our wish, or even when life hurts and misunderstandings pull us down. Trusting God means we continue to turn to Him and keep praying even when those prayers seem to have no immediate effect. The fourth quality that we must possess is the quality of being realistic. Being realistic in following Christ would mean that we are aware of the difficulties that are prone to happen in our life as we follow Jesus. We don't get excited if things go wrong or if miracles happen in our life. We take them as it is, thanking God for the experience we are undergoing, and we strongly believe it as a plan of God in our life. And finally, we are able to remain balanced and composed in facing the extraordinary things that happen in our life. The fifth and the final quality that we need to possess as a follower of Christ is a quality of being prayerful. We know that in John chapter 15 verse 5, Jesus said, "Apart from me, you can do nothing." What does it mean? I think it is very simple that we need to remain close to Jesus in all what we do. One of the challenges in following Jesus is a prayerful attitude that one must possess. We go to God when we are in a difficulty. In our case, usually it is when we have some exams. But it is good to ask ourselves a question. Do we thank God after our exams? Or even after receiving some little favors from God? Being prayerful is not spending your whole time in the church or in places of prayer, but it is a connectedness with God in all what we do. It is just the beginning of everything from God. So friends, as we conclude today, let us question and challenge ourselves if we are courageous enough to follow Jesus in our life, keeping in mind the obstacles that we need to hurdle over.
Greetings to one and all present here. I hope you had a wonderful week. But now, once again, it's time to learn about a new saint. So, welcome back to Let's Saint a Story. Once again, here we are at the gates of heaven. Let's recall the saints. Right towards the left, we have Blessed Charles de Foucauld. Right here, we have Saint Romero. Right here, we have Saint Francis of Assisi. Here, we have Dominic Savio. Here, we have Saint Therese of Lisieux. Right at the center, we have St. John Bosco. Here is Padre Pio. Here is St. Augustine of Hippo. Here is Blessed Carlo Acuti. Right here, we have St. Ignatius of Loyola. And towards the very right, we have St. Teresa of Calcutta. Once again, if you are not able to recall the stories of the saints, you can always go back and watch the previous videos. Remember, you can inspire others if you know the stories of these saints. By telling these stories, you can certainly inspire not only others, but yourself too, thus working on yourself and helping yourself become a better person. For those of you who took part in the activity called Who is that saint last week, and if you were able to figure out who the saint is for this week, then congratulations! It wouldn't have been that easy. If you weren't able to figure out who the saint is for this week, make sure you tune in and learn more about the saint today. So let's go ahead and let's meet the saint. Let me reiterate, this is going to be like a casual conversation. Imagine you're meeting the saint at a hotel or a nearby park. You want to make a new friend, so you ask a few questions, and the saint answers. Thus, you get to know more about the saint and you make a new friend. So let's go and start our conversation with the saint. This is the person you see in front of you, a rather young girl. So let us go and learn more about this person. You start off by saying, "Hi, it's so nice to meet you. May I know your name?" To which the saint replies, "Hi, my name is Maria Goretti, but you can call me Maria if you please." "Tell me about your younger days, Maria." "Well, I was born on the 16th of October 1890 in Corinaldo, Italy, to Assunta and Luigi Goretti. I was one of 5 children. In 1899, my father moved our family to Ferriere di Conza as he was looking for a job. He found a job, and in return, his employer let us stay in one of his houses. We stayed in the ground floor of the house, while another family lived in the first floor. One day, my dad was bitten by a mosquito carrying malaria. He tragically died 11 days later in the year 1900. This left my mom to raise us up all by herself. I used to help out my mom whenever and wherever I could. I was afraid that my dad's soul would remain in purgatory, so I used to pray constantly. I used to pray the rosary too, and I couldn't go long without praying. My mother worked in the fields to support our family. I performed the chores at home, such as cooking, cleaning, and taking care of my younger siblings. My neighbor used to be very loud and often spoke immodest language, but he liked me as his own daughter. I used to help out at his home too. I used to take care of him and his son too, but I never complained about the extra work. I received my first Holy Communion in the year 1901 on the feast of Corpus Christi. I learned the Catechism, though I couldn't read nor write. I grew in sanctity and purity. I encouraged my mother to live a pure life too. While I was 11, Alessandro, my neighbor's son, was 19. He was taken by my beauty and tried to make advances towards me. He used to speak obscenely and even threatened to kill me and my mother. Alessandro was depressed and he drank too much. Despite his persistence, I did not give in to him and the temptation. But one day, Alessandro found his dad sleeping on the footsteps of his house. So, He tried crossing his dad silently and made his way to my house. He tried attacking me. When I resisted, he became even more angry and stabbed me with his knife. He then left the house quickly without anyone noticing. His father later found me in my house and called for help. I was immediately rushed to the hospital. The doctors were astonished that I was still alive, but the doctors knew that I was dying. A parish priest was called to give me my last rites. When he asked me if I forgave Alessandro, I told him yes. I told him that I forgave him and wished he was in paradise with me. I died the next day on July 6, 1902. What happened next, Maria? Alessandro was soon arrested by the cops and was sentenced to 30 years in prison. He was completely unrepentant and he had a hard heart. 6 years later, I appeared to Alessandro in a dream. In his dream, I gave him 14 lilies. Once he took the lilies, they turned into flaming lights. I told him that someday his soul would join mine in heaven. After this, Alessandro's heart began to soften, and he started weeping. He confessed to the bishop and lived the rest of his life as a reformed man. After he was released, he went to my mother to beg for forgiveness. My mother had told him that I had already forgiven him, though she too forgave him. I was beatified in the year 1947 and was canonized in the year 1950. What can I do to be more like you, Maria? My child, all you must do is live a pure life. Do not be afraid to stand up for what you believe in. Yes, it is tough to live a pure life in an impure world, but if you stand for what you believe in, your rewards will be much greater in heaven. Keep praying to the Lord constantly. Seek His guidance and support. Help out others wherever you can. Help out at home. Even the simple things can mean a great deal to those around you. It was really great meeting you, Maria. It was great meeting you too. Keep praying for me and pray to me. I too will be praying for you from up above. Before I leave, I would like to leave you with this quote. He loves, he hopes, he waits. Our Lord prefers to wait himself for the sinner for years rather than keep us waiting an instant. Good going! You made a friend in St. Maria Goretti. Remember, once again, it's what you learn that counts. When you hear Maria's story, you can see that she forgave her killer on her deathbed. Imagine the heart she must have had to forgive her own killer. Can we incorporate such characteristics into our own lives? Can we forgive our enemies, people who have wronged us, people who have committed sins against us? It takes a lot to forgive people who have sinned against us. So let us try to incorporate the characteristics that Maria had showed. Forgive our enemies, forgive those around us, even if they might be wrong and we are right. There's always a chance that they can change their lives and live as a reformed person, and you would always be peaceful after forgiving, just like Christ forgave us. So, this brings us back to the gates of heaven. We can see that the saints are now joined by Saint Maria Goretti. This brings us to the activity called Who is that saint? Towards the left, we have a silhouette of a saint, and towards the right, we have a set of clues that pertains to the silhouette depicted on the left. The clues read out: founded a music band, diagnosed with brain cancer. Clubbing the silhouette on the left, and the clues to the right. If you can figure out who this saint is, type the answer in the comment section below. If you aren't able to figure out who the saint is, make sure you tune in next week to learn more about the saint. So thank you, and saint a new life.